The Lincoln High School cafeteria buzzes with lunch hour energy. In the corner, 16-year-old Marcus Thompson sits with his twin sister Maya, their quiet conversation interrupted by approaching footsteps. Derek Harrison, 17 and supremely confident, leads 3 followers toward their table. Derek's voice slices through the noise. "Look at these 2 taking up space again. Maybe they should eat outside with the rest of the strays." Silence falls. Phones emerge as students sense drama. Marcus grips his fork tighter, but stays seated, every muscle controlled. Have you ever watched someone you care about get humiliated in public, feeling completely powerless to help them? What would you do if your family's dignity was on the line, and walking away meant letting the bullies win? Derek reaches for Marcus's tray with that signature smirk. Marcus's hand shoots up to stop him. Time freezes on what happens next. Lincoln High School sits in the heart of Chicago's South Side, a sprawling brick fortress that houses 3,000 students from every corner of the city's diverse landscape. The hallways tell stories of integration on paper, but invisible lines still divide the student body. The wealthy kids from the North Shore claim the prime real estate near the main entrance, while scholarship students and those from working-class families navigate the periphery. Marcus Thompson knows these boundaries well. Every morning, he and Maya walk through the front doors together, their grandmother's words echoing in their minds. Education is the one thing nobody can take from you. At 16, Marcus carries himself with a quiet dignity that draws both respect and unwanted attention. His athletic build hints at hidden strength, but he moves through the halls like someone trying not to take up too much space. The twins live in a modest 2-bedroom apartment with their grandmother, Dorothy Thompson, a retired nurse who took them in after their parents died in a car accident 3 years ago. The walls are lined with family photos and Maya's artwork, creating warmth in the small space. Marcus sleeps on the pull-out couch, never complaining, always grateful. After school, while other students head to sports practice or hang out at the mall, Marcus takes the bus to Kim's traditional martial arts academy on the other side of town. The dojo sits between a laundromat and a corner store, its windows clouded with age but the interior meticulously maintained. For the past 8 years, Marcus has swept these floors, organized equipment, and absorbed every lesson Sensei Park has offered. Sensei Park discovered Marcus's natural ability during a free community self-defense class. The boy's reflexes were exceptional, his focus intense, but more importantly, he possessed something rare: discipline without ego. Under Park's guidance, Marcus earned his black belt 2 years ago, then his 2nd degree last spring. Yet he's never told a soul at school. In a place where reputation can be everything or nothing, Marcus chose invisibility. Maya, meanwhile, channels her emotions into art. Her sketches capture moments of beauty in their neighborhood. Children playing in the streets, elderly men playing chess in the park, their grandmother's hands kneading bread. She dreams of art school, specifically the Art Institute of Chicago, but knows the tuition costs as much as their grandmother makes in 2 years. Still, she fills sketchbook after sketchbook, hope burning bright in every pencil stroke. Derek Harrison inhabits a different universe entirely. The senator's son arrives at school each morning in a different luxury vehicle from his family's fleet, his designer clothes immaculate, his confidence absolute. The Harrison family mansion sits on Lake Shore Drive, its windows offering million-dollar views of Lake Michigan. Derek's bedroom alone is larger than the Thompsons' entire apartment, but wealth and privilege have created their own prison. Senator Harrison demands perfection from his son: perfect grades, perfect image, perfect compliance with the family's political aspirations. Derek learned early that power comes from keeping others beneath you. And at Lincoln High, he's found the perfect laboratory for exercising control. He targets those he perceives as weak, particularly students of color, knowing the administration will protect him while his father's influence shields him from real consequences. His inner circle consists of 3 enablers: Chad, whose father owns a construction empire, Brandon, the mayor's nephew, and Tyler, whose pharmaceutical heiress mother funds half the school's programs. They follow Derek not out of loyalty, but out of fear. Fear of becoming his targets instead. Ms. Rodriguez teaches AP History and sees everything. She notices how certain students shrink when Derek passes, how conversations halt when he enters a room. She's filed reports, made calls, attended meetings, but nothing changes. Principal Williams, more concerned with maintaining the school's reputation and keeping wealthy donors happy, treats each incident as isolated rather than recognizing the pattern. The invisible war has been brewing for months, but today, something shifts. Today, the careful balance that's kept Marcus in the shadows and Derek in control is about to shatter completely. Marcus doesn't know it yet, but his 8 years of training, his grandmother's wisdom, and his sister's unwavering faith in him are about to collide with Derek's sense of untouchable privilege in a way that will change Lincoln High forever. The harassment begins on a Tuesday morning when Maya hangs her Black History Month sketches in the West hallway. Her drawings depict Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., and community heroes, each piece representing hours of careful work for her college portfolio. Derek appears with his entourage, their laughter echoing off lockers. "Look at this garbage cluttering up our walls," he announces loudly. His fingers trace Maya's signature. "Maya Thompson should have known." Chad snickers. "My dad says these people always make everything about race." Maya's hands tremble, but her voice stays steady. "It's Black History Month. The art teacher approved this." Derek steps closer. "Nobody wants to see your little victim stories. Why don't you draw something useful, like how to know your place?" Maya lifts her chin. "These aren't victim stories, they're survival stories." "Same thing," Derek laughs, deliberately bumping the display board. 3 sketches flutter to the floor. "Oops." Maya kneels to gather her work, blinking back tears. Derek's foot accidentally steps on one sketch, leaving a muddy print across Frederick Douglass's face. Marcus rounds the corner at that moment. The sight stops him cold, Maya's shoulders shaking as she salvages her damaged dreams. In the art room later, Marcus finds his sister among the torn pieces. Maya looks up, red-rimmed but fierce. "Don't get involved, Marcus. It'll just make things worse." Marcus kneels beside her, gathering fragments. His jaw tightens, seeing weeks of work destroyed by casual cruelty. That afternoon, Marcus approaches Derek at his locker. His voice comes out calm, respectful. "Leave my sister alone." Derek turns slowly, smirk spreading. "What are you going to do about it, Charity Case? Your dead parents aren't here to save you." The hallway falls silent. Phones emerge. Marcus's hands form fists, every muscle coiled tight. Then deliberately, he relaxes them. He turns and walks away as Derek's laughter echoes. That evening, alone in the dojo, Marcus attacks the heavy bag with unusual intensity. Sensei Park watches from the doorway, concerned about creasing his weathered face. Derek's campaign against the Thompson twins intensifies with methodical precision. Wednesday morning, Maya discovers her locker vandalized with racial slurs spray-painted in bold black letters. The custodian hurries to clean it before other students arrive, but not before Derek's friends capture photos that quickly circulate on social media with cruel captions. By Thursday, rumors spread like wildfire through the school's social networks. Anonymous accounts claim the Thompson family lives on government assistance, that they don't belong at Lincoln High, that they're taking resources from real students. The lies gain traction with each share, each cruel comment adding weight to Derek's manufactured narrative. Derek orchestrates these attacks from his privileged position, understanding exactly how to weaponize social media without leaving fingerprints. He never posts directly. His followers do the dirty work while he maintains plausible deniability. The system protects him perfectly. Maya tries to hold her head high, but the constant whispers and pointed stares wear her down. Students she considered friends suddenly avoid eye contact. Teachers who once praised her artwork now seem uncomfortable in her presence. The isolation cuts deeper than any direct insult. Friday afternoon brings the cruelest blow yet. Maya rushes to her art classroom after the final bell, excited to work on her portfolio during the extended hours Ms. Rodriguez provides for serious students. But when she opens her storage cubby, her heart sinks. Months of work, charcoal portraits, watercolor landscapes, intricate pen drawings, lie destroyed. Paint has been poured over everything, turning her carefully crafted pieces into unrecognizable smears of color and chaos. Her college application portfolio, representing 2 years of dedication, is completely ruined. Derek's perspective reveals the calculated nature of his cruelty. In his Lakeshore Drive bedroom that evening, surrounded by luxury his targets will never know, he scrolls through the social media chaos he's created. Each cruel comment, each shared rumor, feeds something dark inside him. His father's voice echoes from their last conversation. "Son, this school's getting too comfortable letting certain elements think they belong here. Your grandfather built this community for people like us. Never forget that." Derek learned early that power means keeping others beneath you. At home, his father's demands for perfection leave him feeling powerless. But at school, he can control everything. Students of color make perfect targets because they rarely fight back. They can't afford to. Derek understands the game perfectly. His phone buzzes with notifications. Chad sends a video of Maya crying over her destroyed artwork. Brandon shares screenshots of the latest rumors gaining hundreds of likes. Tyler posts a poll asking whether scholarship kids should have separate lunch periods. Derek smiles, typing his response. "Some people need to learn their place. Tomorrow should be interesting." Meanwhile, Maya sits at her grandmother's kitchen table, staring at the ruined fragments she managed to salvage. Her dreams of art school seem as destroyed as her portfolio. She's worked 2 summers at the local grocery store to afford the art supplies, staying up late after homework to perfect each piece. Marcus finds her there, surrounded by paint-stained papers that once held such promise. The sight breaks something inside him that he's kept carefully controlled for years. His sister, talented, hopeful, kind, reduced to tears by someone who destroys for entertainment. "I can't go back," Maya whispers. "I can't face them anymore." Their grandmother enters, takes one look at the destruction, and pulls Maya into her arms. "Baby, there are always people in this world who try to tear down what they can't create, but we don't let them win by giving up." Marcus watches his sister sob against their grandmother's shoulder, and something cold settles in his chest. His 8 years of training echo in his mind. Not the physical techniques, but Sensei Park's lessons about protecting the innocent, about standing up when others cannot. That weekend, Derek's harassment reaches new heights. He organizes a coincidental encounter at the local mall, where he and his friends surround Maya near the food court. With dozens of witnesses and security cameras recording, Derek maintains his innocent facade while his words cut like knives. "Oh, look, it's the little artist," he announces loudly. "Still crying over your little drawings? Maybe you should try finger painting next time. More your level." Maya's hands shake as she tries to walk away, but Derek's group blocks her path. Other shoppers slow down, sensing conflict but unwilling to intervene. Some pull out phones, hoping to capture drama for their own social media. "Excuse me," Maya says firmly, but her voice wavers. Derek leans closer, his voice dropping to a whisper only she can hear. "You and your brother are nothing. You'll always be nothing. The sooner you accept that, the easier this gets." Maya pushes past them, practically running toward the exit. Derek's laughter follows her, along with the sound of phones capturing her humiliation. Monday morning arrives like a storm. Principal Williams calls Marcus to his office, where he sits across from Derek and Senator Harrison. The politician's presence transforms the room's atmosphere. Everything suddenly formal, calculated, dangerous. "Mr. Thompson," Principal Williams begins, his voice strained. "There have been concerns about your behavior toward Derek. Some students feel threatened." Marcus stares in disbelief. "Threatened? He's been harassing my sister for weeks." Senator Harrison adjusts his expensive tie. My son tells me you've been following him, making threats. That's very serious, young man. The lies flow smoothly, backed by Derek's innocent expression and his father's political weight. Principal Williams, clearly uncomfortable but unwilling to challenge the senator, issues Marcus a formal warning. Any further incidents will result in suspension, Williams states. Do we understand each other? Marcus nods, understanding perfectly. The game is rigged, the system designed to protect privilege while punishing those who dare to challenge it. That afternoon, Derek corners Maya after school near the bike racks. His friends form a circle, blocking escape routes while pretending to have casual conversation. Maya's breathing quickens as Derek steps closer, his hand reaching for her shoulder. Don't touch me, she warns, but her voice shakes. Derek's fingers brush her arm. What are you going to do about it? That's when Marcus appears, moving through the crowd like water flowing around stones. His presence changes everything. Derek's confident smirk falters. His friends step back slightly. Get away from her, Marcus says quietly. Derek recovers quickly, emboldened by the morning's victory in the principal's office. Look who finally grew a spine. Marcus gently guides Maya away from Derek's circle, his arm protective around her shoulders. His movements remain calm, controlled, but his eyes never leave Derek's face. The tension crackles between them like electricity before a storm. This isn't over, Derek calls after them, loud enough for his followers to hear and record. Marcus doesn't respond. He leads Maya to their grandmother's waiting car, checking to ensure she's unharmed before they drive away in silence. That evening, Marcus sits alone in his small bedroom space, laptop open, researching legal precedents for self-defense. He scrolls through case studies, court decisions, anything that might help him understand his rights when protecting his family. The screen's blue light illuminates his focused expression as he takes careful notes. At the dojo, Marcus approaches Sensei Park with theoretical questions. If someone threatens your family, what are your options? The older man studies his student carefully. Violence should always be the last resort. But when someone innocent is in danger, we have a duty to protect them. He pauses, choosing his words deliberately. Remember, never strike first, use only necessary force, and always ensure witnesses see the truth. Marcus nods, understanding the deeper lesson. Derek feeds on fear and operates with impunity because no one has ever held him accountable publicly. Tomorrow, if Derek escalates again, Marcus will be ready, not just physically, but legally and morally prepared for whatever consequences follow. The next day arrives with the weight of inevitability. The cafeteria hums with its usual chaotic energy, trays clattering, conversations overlapping, the constant buzz of teenage social dynamics playing out across packed tables. Marcus and Maya sit at their corner table, the same spot where this all began. But today feels different. Today, the air itself seems charged with expectation. Derek enters with his usual entourage, but there's something more aggressive in his stride. Yesterday's confrontation has only fueled his need to reassert dominance. His designer sneakers squeak against the linoleum with each purposeful step as he surveys his domain. Students notice his approach, conversations quieting as phones begin emerging from pockets. The cafeteria's natural acoustics amplify every sound. The scrape of chairs, the whispered warnings between friends, the soft electronic beeps of recording devices starting up. Marcus feels the familiar weight of invisible eyes watching, waiting for something to happen. Derek approaches their table with theatrical confidence, his three followers arranging themselves for maximum intimidation. Chad holds his phone openly, already recording. Brandon and Tyler flank the table, blocking potential escape routes. The choreography is deliberate, practiced. Well, well, Derek announces, his voice carrying across the suddenly quieter cafeteria. Look who's still taking up valuable space. Maya's hands tremble slightly as she continues eating, trying to ignore the growing attention. Marcus remains seated, but every muscle in his body is coiled with controlled energy. He studied this moment, prepared for it, but knowing it's coming doesn't make it easier. Derek picks up Maya's milk carton, examining it with exaggerated interest. Chocolate milk? How appropriate. His voice drips with racial undertone that makes nearby students shift uncomfortably. The insult hangs in the air like poison. Marcus's grip tightens on his fork, but he forces his breathing to remain steady. Sensei Park's voice echoes in his mind. Control the emotion, or the emotion controls you. Without warning, Derek tilts the carton and pours the chocolate milk across Maya's college application materials spread on the table. The brown liquid seeps into carefully prepared essays, recommendation letters, transcripts, months of work dissolving into soggy paper. Oops, Derek says with mock innocence. Guess your dreams just got washed away. Maya gasps, frantically trying to save what she can, but the damage is instant and irreversible. Tears spring to her eyes as she holds up a recommendation letter, the ink running like mascara in rain. Derek leans closer, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear but delivered with casual cruelty. Maybe now you'll understand where you really belong. People like you should stick to... That's enough. Marcus stands slowly, his movement fluid and controlled. The simple action creates a ripple effect across the cafeteria. Conversations stop completely. Chairs scrape as students turn to watch. Phones lift higher to capture better angles. Derek's smirk widens. Oh, look who finally found his spine. What are you going to do, charity case? Cry about it like your sister? Marcus steps between Derek and Maya, his positioning deliberate and protective. Leave us alone. This is your last warning. The words come out calm, measured, but there's something in Marcus's tone that makes Derek's followers take an unconscious step back. Derek, however, misreads the moment entirely. Last warning? Derek laughs, the sound echoing off the cafeteria walls. From you? He shoves Marcus hard in the chest, the impact loud enough to hear across the room. Marcus absorbs the push without moving, his balance perfect, his expression unchanged. The crowd holds its collective breath. Derek, emboldened by what he perceives as weakness, cocks his right arm back and throws a wild punch aimed at Marcus's face. The movement is telegraphed, sloppy, born of privilege rather than practice. What happens next unfolds in slow motion for the dozens of recording phones capturing every frame. Marcus sidesteps the punch with minimal movement, his body flowing like water around Derek's clumsy attack. Derek's momentum carries him forward, off balance, and Marcus uses that energy against him. A simple redirect, a gentle guide rather than a violent throw, sends Derek stumbling into the adjacent table. The crash resonates through the cafeteria, trays scattering, drinks spilling, Derek landing hard among the debris. The sound echoes off the walls like a gunshot. Chad rushes forward to help his leader, throwing a wild haymaker at Marcus's head. Again, Marcus moves with practiced precision. He ducks under the punch, sweeps Chad's supporting leg, and guides him down using his own momentum. Chad hits the floor with a thud that rattles the nearby tables. Brandon joins the fray, grabbing Marcus from behind in a clumsy bear hug. Marcus drops his weight, slips from the hold, and spins behind Brandon. A gentle push sends Brandon stumbling forward into Tyler, and both boys go down in a tangle of limbs and bruised egos. The entire confrontation lasts 30 seconds. Marcus never throws a punch, never strikes in anger, never uses more force than absolutely necessary. Every movement is defensive, redirective, designed to neutralize threats while causing minimal harm. The cafeteria erupts in chaos. Students cheer, phones flash, teachers rush toward the commotion. Derek and his friends lie scattered on the floor, unhurt but thoroughly humiliated, their carefully constructed image of dominance shattered in front of 300 witnesses. Marcus immediately kneels beside Derek, his voice genuine with concern. Are you hurt? I didn't want this to happen. Derek stares up at him, shock and rage warring across his face. For the first time in his privileged life, he's been held accountable publicly, and the experience leaves him speechless. Principal Williams arrives, taking in the scene, 4 boys on the floor, Marcus standing calmly with his hands visible and empty, Maya clutching her ruined college materials, and dozens of students still recording. "Everyone stop filming!" Williams shouts, but it's too late. The videos are already uploading, spreading across social media platforms with viral velocity. Within minutes, the footage appears on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. Comments pour in from around the world as viewers witness what appears to be a masterclass in self-defense and restraint. The hashtag #DefendDon'tAttack begins trending as users share the video with captions praising Marcus's control and condemning Derek's aggression. The original footage shows everything: Derek's racist comments, the destruction of Maya's college materials, the first punch thrown, and Marcus's measured response. By the end of the school day, the video had been viewed over 1 million times. But as Marcus will soon discover, going viral can be both a blessing and a curse. The viral video's initial wave of support proves dangerously short-lived. Within 48 hours, Senator Harrison's political machine launches a devastating counterattack that transforms Marcus from hero to villain in the court of public opinion. The Harrison family's crisis management team works through the night, crafting a narrative that flips the entire story. By Wednesday morning, edited versions of the cafeteria footage flooded social media, clips that show only Marcus's defensive moves, carefully cropped to hide Derek's initial aggression and racist comments. Senator Harrison appears on the steps of the state capitol, his voice trembling with calculated paternal concern. "My son Derek is recovering from a vicious assault by a trained fighter who used his martial arts skills to attack innocent students. This young man turned a school cafeteria into a combat zone, endangering dozens of children." The senator's words carry the weight of political authority. News outlets pick up the story, running headlines like "Martial arts student attacks classmates" and "Teen fighter goes berserk in school cafeteria." The original context, Derek's harassment, the destroyed college materials, the racist slurs, disappears beneath carefully orchestrated spin. Derek, coached by expensive lawyers and media consultants, gives a polished performance on local television. His face shows carefully applied makeup to emphasize minor bruises. His voice quavers with practiced vulnerability. "I was just trying to help clean up a spill when Marcus attacked me and my friends," Derek lies smoothly. "We had no idea he was trained in deadly martial arts. We could have been seriously injured or killed." The interviewer nods sympathetically, never questioning Derek's version of events or asking about the context leading to the confrontation. Corporate sponsors distance themselves from the viral video. Social media platforms begin flagging the original footage as promoting violence, while the edited versions spread unchecked. The narrative shifts with devastating efficiency. Marcus becomes the aggressor. Derek becomes the victim. The legal trap closes swiftly. Thursday morning brings a knock on the Thompson family's apartment door. 2 police officers stand in the hallway, their expressions grim as they deliver the news that will shatter Marcus's world. "Marcus Thompson, you're under arrest for assault and battery," the first officer states, reading from official paperwork. "You have the right to remain silent." Maya watches in horror as handcuffs click around her brother's wrists. Their grandmother clutches the doorframe, her knees threatening to give way as her grandson is led away in custody. The charges are severe: 4 counts of assault and battery, 1 count of disturbing the peace, and a new addition that makes Marcus's blood run cold: use of martial arts training as a deadly weapon. The enhanced charges carry potential felony convictions that could destroy his future completely. The Harrison family's legal team moves with precision. They filed a civil lawsuit seeking damages for emotional trauma, medical expenses, and pain and suffering. The monetary demand reaches into the hundreds of thousands, money the Thompson family could never hope to pay. District Attorney Patricia Chen, feeling intense pressure from the Harrison family's political connections, refuses all plea bargain offers. Her office wants to make an example of Marcus, sending a message that violence in schools will face the full force of the law. The media circus intensifies. Protesters gather outside the courthouse, but they're not supporting Marcus. They're demanding justice for Derek. Signs read, "Stop School Violence" and "Martial Arts equals Weapons." The carefully orchestrated campaign has turned public sentiment completely around. Marcus sits in juvenile detention, watching news coverage that portrays him as a dangerous predator who used his training to brutalize innocent students. The isolation feels crushing. Phone calls are limited, visitors restricted, and the outside world seems increasingly hostile. Maya and their grandmother mortgage their small apartment to afford a lawyer, but even their public defender seems overwhelmed by the case's political implications. The legal system that should protect the innocent appears designed to crush anyone who dares challenge the powerful. At Lincoln High, the aftermath proves equally devastating. Principal Williams, under pressure from the school board and major donors, implements new zero-tolerance policies that specifically target trained fighters and martial arts practitioners. The rules seem tailor-made to prevent anyone like Marcus from defending themselves in the future. Derek returns to school as a hero, surrounded by supporters and media attention. He gives interviews about overcoming trauma and forgiveness, his performance so convincing that even some teachers express sympathy for his ordeal. The social media narrative solidifies around Derek's victimhood. Influencers with millions of followers share his story, adding their own commentary about dangerous martial arts culture and violence in schools. The hashtag #HadJustice. For Derek begins trending, drowning out the original #DefendDon'tAttack movement. Meanwhile, other students who witnessed Derek's months of harassment remain silent, afraid of becoming targets themselves. The system has shown them exactly what happens to those who stand up to power. They get crushed. Sensei Park visits Marcus in detention, his weathered face heavy with concern. "I've contacted every martial arts organization in the state," he explains quietly. "They're all watching this case. If they can criminalize self-defense, no one who trains will ever be safe." The weight of representing an entire community settles on Marcus's young shoulders. This case will set precedent. Either self-defense remains a fundamental right, or martial arts training becomes a liability that transforms victims into criminals. In his cell that night, Marcus stares at the ceiling and wonders how protecting his sister led to this nightmare. The viral video that once seemed like vindication now feels like evidence against him. The very skills that allowed him to protect Maya without seriously injuring anyone are being used to paint him as a dangerous threat. The preliminary hearing approaches like an execution date. The Harrison family's lawyers have built what appears to be an airtight case, complete with expert witnesses ready to testify about Marcus's deadly capabilities and Derek's lasting trauma. Public opinion has shifted so completely that even Marcus begins to doubt himself. Perhaps he should have just walked away, let Derek continue his harassment, and accept that some people are untouchable. The cost of standing up seems far greater than the price of submission. But in the darkness of detention, Maya's words echo in his memory. These aren't victim stories, they're survival stories. Tomorrow's hearing will determine not just Marcus's fate, but whether survival stories are still allowed to have happy endings. The legal trap has been perfectly set. Now Marcus must find a way to escape before it destroys everything he and his family have worked to build. The courthouse buzzes with tension as the preliminary hearing begins. Outside, media vans line the street while protesters wave signs demanding justice for Derek. Inside the packed courtroom, the Harrison family sits in the front row, their expensive suits and confident expressions radiating power and privilege. Marcus enters in his orange detention uniform, hands shackled, flanked by 2 guards. The visual contrast is deliberate. The Harrison legal team wants the judge and media to see a dangerous criminal, not a 16-year-old defending his sister. Judge Margaret Thornton, a stern woman with 30 years on the bench, calls the proceedings to order. The courtroom falls silent as Derek's testimony begins. Derek takes the witness stand with practiced composure, his voice steady as he recounts his version of events. I was just trying to help Maya clean up a spill when Marcus suddenly attacked me. He used his martial arts training like a weapon against defenseless students. The performance is flawless. Derek's lawyers have prepared him well, coaching every gesture, every pause, every tremor in his voice. He describes feeling terrorized and helpless against Marcus's deadly skills. I had no idea someone could be so violent, Derek continues, dabbing his eyes with a tissue. We were just normal students, and he turned our school into a war zone. The prosecution presents their case with devastating efficiency. Expert witnesses testify about the lethal potential of martial arts training. Edited videos play on screens throughout the courtroom, showing only Marcus's defensive moves while hiding Derek's aggression. Marcus's public defender, overwhelmed and underprepared, struggles against the Harrison legal machine. Each objection gets overruled. Each piece of exculpatory evidence gets dismissed as irrelevant. The case seems hopeless until an unexpected figure enters the courtroom. Ms. Rodriguez slips through the back doors, carrying a small USB drive that could change everything. Her hands shake slightly as she approaches the bailiff, whispering urgently about crucial evidence that wasn't presented. Judge Thornton calls a brief recess to examine the drive's contents. In her chambers, she watches footage from a hidden security camera Ms. Rodriguez installed in the hallway weeks earlier, after witnessing Derek's pattern of harassment, but being unable to prove it. When court reconvenes, the atmosphere has shifted dramatically. The court will now view additional evidence, Judge Thornton announces, her voice carrying new authority. The hidden camera footage plays on the courtroom screens, showing Derek's systematic campaign of harassment. The audience watches in stunned silence as weeks of racial slurs, destroyed artwork, and deliberate intimidation unfold before their eyes. The most damning moment comes when the camera captures Derek's assault on Maya's college materials, his racist comments clearly audible, followed by his unprovoked attack on Marcus. The full context reveals the truth that edited videos had hidden. Derek's confident facade begins to crack. His lawyers huddle frantically, whispering damage control strategies, but the evidence is overwhelming and undeniable. Marcus takes the stand for his own defense, his voice calm despite the enormous pressure. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just wanted my sister to feel safe at school. His testimony reveals years of silent suffering, watching Maya endure harassment while the system protected her tormentor. He explains his martial arts training not as a weapon, but as a discipline that taught him restraint and protection of the innocent. Sensei Park always told us that our greatest strength is knowing when not to fight, Marcus says, looking directly at Derek. But sometimes, protecting someone you love means standing up when no one else will. Sensei Park's expert testimony transforms the courtroom's understanding. The elderly martial artist explains how Marcus showed exceptional restraint, using minimal force when he could have caused serious harm. In 30 years of teaching, I have never seen such control under pressure, Sensei Park states firmly. Marcus demonstrated the highest principles of martial arts: defend the innocent, use only necessary force, and show mercy to your opponents. Cha. The psychological battle reaches its climax when Derek returns to the stand for cross-examination. Under pressure from Marcus's lawyer and the weight of video evidence, Derek's carefully constructed lies begin to unravel. You deliberately destroyed Maya's college portfolio, didn't you? The defense attorney presses. Derek shifts uncomfortably. That was an accident. An accident? Like the racial slurs you used? Like cornering her after school? Like organizing social media harassment campaigns? Each question hits like a hammer blow. Derek's privilege has never prepared him for real accountability, and he begins to crack under genuine pressure for the first time in his life. They don't belong at our school anyway! Derek suddenly explodes, his mask of victimhood finally slipping. My father says people like them need to know their place! The courtroom gasps. Derek's lawyers move to object, but the damage is done. The real Derek Harrison, entitled Racist, Cruel, has finally shown himself publicly. Senator Harrison's face goes pale as he realizes his son has just destroyed both their cases and his political career on live television. The truth spreads through the courthouse like wildfire. Reporters rush to file stories, their earlier narratives completely reversed. Social media erupts as the full context finally emerges, vindicating Marcus and exposing the Harrison family's deception. Judge Thornton's verdict comes swift and decisive. All charges against Marcus Thompson are hereby dismissed. The evidence clearly shows self-defense in protection of his sister against a sustained campaign of racial harassment. The courtroom erupts in cheers. Maya breaks down crying as their grandmother embraces her. Marcus stands stunned, hardly believing the nightmare is finally over. But Judge Thornton isn't finished. She turns to Derek with steel in her voice. "Young man, you will be charged with assault, harassment, destruction of property, and filing false police reports. Your actions represent everything our justice system stands against." Derek stares in shock as handcuffs click around his wrists, the same ones that held Marcus just days before. The reversal is complete and devastating. Senator Harrison watches his son lead away in custody, knowing his political aspirations died with Derek's courtroom confession. The family that once seemed untouchable now faces public disgrace and legal consequences. Outside the courthouse, Marcus emerges to find a completely different crowd. Supporters holding signs reading, "Herr Justice," for Marcus and "Herr Defend, Don't Attack." The narrative has shifted again, but this time toward truth. The psychological battle is won not through violence or manipulation, but through truth, courage, and the power of standing up for what's right. The weeks following Marcus's vindication bring transformations that ripple far beyond Lincoln High School's brick walls. The hidden camera footage, now viewed over 50 million times across all platforms, becomes a catalyst for change that no one could have anticipated. Derek Harrison's fall from grace proves swift and comprehensive. Expelled from Lincoln High, he faces criminal charges that his father's political connections can no longer shield him from. The Harrison family fortune, built on carefully cultivated public image, crumbles as donors and allies distance themselves from the scandal. Senator Harrison's political career ends not with a bang, but with a whimper. His re-election campaign collapses overnight as the video of his son's racist outburst plays on every news channel in America. The man who once commanded rooms full of powerful people now struggles to find anyone willing to take his calls. But the real changes happen in the places that matter most: the hallways where students walk, the classrooms where futures are shaped, the community that finally decides to confront its own uncomfortable truths. Lincoln High School undergoes a complete administrative overhaul. Principal Williams, whose willful blindness enabled Derek's harassment, resigns under pressure from parents and the school board. His replacement, Dr. Angela Foster, arrives with a mandate for real change and zero tolerance for the kind of systemic bias that nearly destroyed an innocent student's life. The new policies go far beyond superficial fixes. Students receive comprehensive training on recognizing and reporting harassment. Teachers undergo sensitivity workshops. Most importantly, the school establishes an anonymous reporting system that ensures incidents like Derek's campaign of terror can never again operate in the shadows. Marcus becomes an unlikely spokesperson for the anti-bullying movement, speaking at schools across the country about the importance of standing up for others while maintaining moral principles. His message resonates because it comes from lived experience rather than theoretical understanding. Strength isn't about fighting, he tells packed auditoriums of teenagers who hang on his every word. True strength is about protecting those who can't protect themselves, using only the force necessary to stop harm, and never letting hatred turn you into the thing you're fighting against. Maya's story of resilience captures hearts across social media. Art colleges that never knew her name before Derek's destruction of her portfolio now compete to offer her full scholarships. The Art Institute of Chicago, her dream school, not only accepts her but creates a special scholarship in her name for students who overcome harassment and discrimination. Her artwork takes on new dimensions, incorporating themes of justice, survival, and hope that speak to young people facing their own battles against systemic oppression. Her pieces now hang in galleries, but more importantly, they hang in community centers and schools where they can inspire the next generation of artists to persevere. The Thompson family's financial struggles ease as legal settlements from the Harrison family's false accusations provide compensation for their suffering. More meaningful than money, however, is the outpouring of community support that transforms their neighborhood into a symbol of resilience and solidarity. Sensei Park's dojo experiences unprecedented growth as parents seek martial arts training that emphasizes character development alongside physical skills. The waiting list extends for months, but Sensei Park maintains his standards, accepting only students who demonstrate the kind of character Marcus exhibited under pressure. The #Defend Don't Attack movement evolves into something larger, a nationwide conversation about self-defense rights, the responsibility to protect others, and the difference between justified protection and unnecessary violence. Martial arts schools across the country adopt the hashtag as a teaching philosophy, Ms. Rodriguez receives recognition for her courage in preserving the evidence that saved Marcus, but she deflects praise to focus on the systemic changes still needed. "One hidden camera shouldn't be necessary to protect our students," she says in an interview. "We need to build systems where truth doesn't require luck to emerge." Derek's consequences extend beyond legal punishment. Court-ordered community service places him in programs designed to confront his prejudices and understand the impact of his actions. Whether he learns genuine empathy or simply better compliance remains to be seen, but he no longer wields power over others. The ripple effects continue spreading. Other families come forward with their own stories of harassment, finding courage in Marcus's example. School districts nationwide review their policies. Law enforcement agencies examine how political pressure influenced their handling of the case. Most importantly, students across the country learn that standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult and dangerous, can actually change the world. 6 months after that frozen moment in the cafeteria when Derek reached for Marcus's tray, Lincoln High has become a model of inclusive education. Students from all backgrounds work together on projects, learn from each other's experiences, and stand united against the kind of hatred that once flourished in their hallways. The transformation isn't perfect. Deep-seated prejudices don't disappear overnight, but progress is real and measurable. Students report feeling safer, teachers feel empowered to address problems, and the community has learned that silence in the face of injustice only enables more injustice. Marcus and Maya walk through those same hallways now with their heads held high, but more importantly, they see other students doing the same. The fear that once stalked Lincoln High's corridors has been replaced by something more powerful: hope. 1 year later, Lincoln High School's auditorium buzzes with graduation day excitement. Marcus Thompson walks across the stage as valedictorian, his cap and gown representing dreams that survived the worst adversity. The standing ovation comes from a community that learned to recognize true heroism. His valedictorian speech, broadcast live, carries a powerful message. "A year ago, I thought strength meant staying silent. I learned that real strength means standing up for what's right, even when the cost seems too high." Maya sits in the front row, her Art Institute scholarship secured, her dreams stronger than ever. Her latest mural depicting diverse students walking together now covers the renovated cafeteria wall where this story began. Sensei Park watches with quiet pride as his student proves that the greatest martial arts victories happen when character is tested and found unbreakable. The dojo now teaches hundreds the same principles Marcus embodied: protect the innocent, use minimal force, never let hatred corrupt your heart. Dr. Foster presents Marcus with special recognition for courage against systemic injustice. Under her leadership, Lincoln High has become a national model for addressing harassment and creating inclusive environments. The Defend, Don't Attack movement has evolved beyond Marcus's imagination. Schools across America now teach conflict resolution and self-defense principles based on his example. Martial arts academies display his story as proof that discipline and restraint represent the highest strength. Derek serves community service helping bullying victims. His father's political career never recovered, a permanent reminder that privilege without character leads to downfall. Ms. Rodriguez receives a National Teaching Award for preserving the evidence that changed everything. Her courage ensures truth doesn't depend on luck to emerge. The Thompson family's apartment overflows with letters from students worldwide who found courage in Marcus's story. Children facing bullies, parents fighting bias, teachers standing up to pressure, all drawing strength from a 16-year-old who refused to let hatred win. The most powerful change is visible daily in Lincoln High's hallways. Students who once walked in fear now move with confidence. Invisible barriers have been replaced by bridges built from mutual respect and shared humanity. New freshmen enter a transformed Lincoln High, a place where bullying is confronted, diversity celebrated, and every student knows someone will stand up for them against injustice. The story that began with cafeteria harassment has become proof that ordinary people create extraordinary change when they refuse to accept this is just how things are. Now it's your turn to be part of this story. Have you or someone you love faced school bullying? Have you witnessed harassment and wondered whether to speak up? Share this story if you believe every student deserves safety and respect. What would you have done in Marcus's situation? Tell us in the comments. Your voice matters in this conversation. Subscribe to Black Voices Speak and hit the notification bell for more stories about ordinary people finding extraordinary courage. Share this video with someone who needs to hear they're not alone in fighting injustice. If this story inspired you, use hashtags #DefendDon'tAttack and #StandUpForJustice to join a movement changing schools across America. Together, we can ensure every student has the chance to learn, grow, and dream without fear. The most powerful weapon against hatred isn't violence. It's the courage to stand up for what's right, protect those needing protection, and never let anyone convince you that bullying is just part of growing up. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Sometimes one person willing to stand up can change everything.